MakingAScene.org brings you TikTok is still music discovery, but the money is moving behind closed doors. Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today we are diving into a massive shift that's happening right beneath our feet in the modern music industry. We're going to look closely at the changing power dynamics between artists, major labels, and social media platforms, and figure out how all this redefines building a truly sustainable music career. So let's get into it. Now, for the last few years, the music industry has sold us this really simple, intoxicating viral dream, right? Just post the right clip, catch the algorithm, and sit back while the streams roll in. But we really need to ask ourselves, is TikTok actually your fan base? Well, the reality is a resounding no. Honestly, TikTok is just a discovery toll booth. You aren't building a fan base there. You're simply renting attention from someone else's machine. The absolute crucial point here is understanding the difference between the spark of discovery and the trap of dependency. Look, discovery is fantastic. It's when your music reaches a total stranger and gets you through the front door. But dependency? That's when the only way you can reach that exact same person again is by literally begging an algorithm for permission. As MakingAScene.org perfectly puts it, it's a cage with neon lights. Sure, the platform might have introduced you, but the toll collector still owns the road. They set the speed limit, and they decide who gets stuck in traffic. Okay, moving on to Section 1, the UMG deal reality, and what happens behind closed doors. Let's dive right into this. The recent licensing deal between Universal Music Group and TikTok proves, without a doubt, that raw exposure is no longer the main currency. Just look at the stark contrast happening right now. Independent artists are basically being told to do unpaid labor for the platform, Just post more content, chase those views, try to decode the algorithm. Meanwhile, major labels are secretly fighting these incredibly sophisticated battles behind closed doors. They are negotiating for better compensation, AI protections, hard data, e-commerce integrations, and ad campaigns. They aren't begging for virality. No, they are securing the financial foundation of the future. I really want to share this quote from MakingAScene.org and give it the energy it deserves. A silent TikTok feed would be a pretty sad little slot machine. I mean, really think about that. Music is what gives these short-form video clips their emotion. It turns random jokes into massive trends and boring product demos into compelling stories. Music isn't just decoration, folks. It is the absolute fuel of the short-form video economy. And what that means is artists hold immense, very real value, but only if they stop treating their songs like disposable content and start treating them like valuable assets. All right, let's shift gears to Section 2, rented versus owned attention. It's time to talk about building your center of gravity. So here's the fundamental conflict of interest we're facing. The platform's only goal is to keep users scrolling so they can serve more ads, while your goal as an artist is to build a lasting relationship. This totally exposes the danger of vanity metrics. Followers, that's just rented attention. It's someone who casually clicks a button and then gets lost in the feed forever. But fans? Fans represent real relationships. A fan is someone who buys your shirt or willingly drives 40 minutes just to come to your live show. Think about it. If the platform changes its algorithm tomorrow or completely alters its music rules, your rented access to those followers vanishes overnight. Poof. But a true fan relationship, that survives. Which brings us to a really empowering realization. While major labels operate purely on mass scale and catalog leverage, indie artists absolutely shouldn't try to play that exact same game. Honestly, it's a losing battle. Instead, indies have to lean into their own unique advantage, which is closeness and relationship leverage. A massive multinational corporation is literally never going to know its fans the way you can. You have the power to know exactly who your supporters are, where they live, and what they actually care about. And the math here is pretty stark when you break it down. Having a massive vanity number like 100,000 scattered views, that means absolutely nothing for your bank account if those people never actually leave the feed. But what about 500 dedicated local fans on an email list? People who actually open your messages, buy your merch, and show up when you play. Now that is actual actionable tour data. That is real proof of demand. That, my friends, is a business. Moving right along to Section 3, building the revenue stack. Let's talk about creating multiple doors to your own house. You see, the old industry essentially trained artists to endlessly chase this one big gatekeeper door. But today, the money is moving into a much more multi-layered ecosystem. We're talking about streaming and publishing, live shows, those sweet merch margins, direct music sales, fan memberships, and sync opportunities. You've got to completely throw away that old mentality and replace it with multiple doors. But here is the absolutely crucial key. Every single one of those doors must lead back to your own house. Because the reality is, e-commerce is now the front line, and AI is making ownership incredibly urgent. The next phase of these platforms isn't just going to be humans making videos. It's AI systems endlessly generating and remixing content. So, as AI floods these platforms with synthetic content, and as those same platforms try to trap all e-commerce inside their own little walled gardens, owning your fan data and having your own merch store isn't just a good marketing strategy. It is pure, unadulterated survival. But here is exactly where a lot of indie artists trip themselves up. They finally get someone's attention on social media, and then what do? They send them to a super messy link in bio page that scatters the poor fan across 10 different platforms: Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, the merch store, tour dates. It's overwhelming. As makingascene.org hilariously and accurately puts it, that is not a funnel, that is a junk drawer. Your goal definitely shouldn't be to scatter people to the wind. Your goal should be to intentionally capture their permission, like their email address and location, in one clear, simple step. All right, let's get into Section 4. The fan passport ecosystem, otherwise known as building the anti-algorithm. So the platform model basically says the fan belongs to the platform so they can sell more ads. But the fan passport model dictates that the fan has a direct one-on-one relationship with you. And don't worry, it is not some creepy tech tool. It's a system that simply recognizes and rewards real human support to create what we call artist-owned intelligence. Think about it like this. A fan buys a shirt, they get a stamp. They attend a show, stamp. Bring a friend or join a listening party, stamp. It beautifully turns a casual listener into an active participant in your ongoing story. Plus, on the back end, it gathers absolutely essential data, telling you exactly where to route your next tour, which markets actually have real heat, and where you need to stock specific merch. And this creates a completely seamless workflow. The TikTok clip, well, that acts merely as the spark. From there, you direct them to one single, clear landing page on your site for a value trade, which allows you to capture their email and city. And that right there is the permission. Finally, they enter the fan passport, where the true relationship actually begins. This perfectly highlights the fact that TikTok shouldn't be the final destination, but just the entry point to your very own venue. This all leads to a really crucial mindset shift. The feed is not the kingdom. The feed is just the street outside the venue. Seriously, what a powerful metaphor. Every single piece of short-form content you make out there must have a designated job. And that job is to open the door, grab someone's attention, invite them off that noisy, crowded street, and bring them inside your club where you completely control the environment. And once you actually start bringing people inside, you'll realize this fundamental truth. The city is way more important than the view count. Seriously, getting 3,000 views in a city you are about to play a show in is infinitely more valuable than getting 100,000 scattered views randomly across the globe. Building a solid middle-class music career doesn't happen by magically being famous everywhere all at once. It happens brick by brick and city by city by turning those scattered digital signals from the feed into a physical map of real-world demand. Which leaves us with this final, truly provocative question to ask yourself today. Are you just renting attention, or are you actually building power? Look, the toll booth is only getting smarter, and the real money is moving behind closed doors. It's time to stop playing checkers while the platforms are playing chess. Build your own room and use every single tool available to bring people into it. That is exactly how you win. Make sure you check out the other great articles and resources on makingascene.org, the place the indie artist goes to build the new music industry.